James Paul, he seems very confident, but this whole time I've been sparring professional kickboxers, boxers like Andre Ward, Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa, and he's been playing touch butt at the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with Kevin Spacey. That's fucked up. Where's the regular people? This press conference sucks.
Is it then? Please tell these guys.
It's Tony time, bitches!
Welcome to Tony's MMA Corner, the only MMA channel that doesn't play touch butt with Kevin Spacey. I am your host, Tony Sepulveda! And today, as always, there's plenty to go over in the MMA world. Before we get into all that, I would like to remind you guys all, once again, if you haven't already, please join my email list. You never know when YouTube will decide to pull the plug, unless I play touch butt with Kevin Spacey. The surging Belal Muhammad has recently hinted that after he wins the welterweight title and defends maybe once or twice, that he'd be willing to move on to the middleweight division. If this were to happen, Belal Muhammad will be the only man in UFC history to put fans to sleep in two weight divisions. There have been some interesting rumors about some potential future matchups in the UFC. One potential matchup is Umar Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen meeting at bantamweight. I'm a huge fan of Umar Nurmagomedov's fighting style, and Corey Sandhagen is another gentleman that always brings it, besides looking like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Another potential matchup that would be awesome if they made it is Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. And after talking about these matchups, it is finally cool to see that fighters are not avoiding these Dagestani, Chechenian fighters with a heavy wrestling style. In the past, if you had a Nurmagomedov or a Chimaev at the end of your name, you getting a matchup with a high-profile fighter in the top 10 was always very tough. But now I think guys are seeing the value in fighting these names. These names come with a pretty big following, and you can't avoid them. This is the future of MMA. This MMA wrestling style, some, mostly casuals, may find it boring. I find it to be the most effective form of MMA at the moment. Much like the Gracies revolutionized fighting when they started. The Dagestanis seem to be the new guys revolutionizing the sport. And I think Kamaru and Sandhagen, even though they are taking on pretty harsh matchups, are stepping up to the plate and taking on this new challenge and making exciting fights again. UFC flyweight Tim Elliot decided to air all his dirty laundry when he revealed that his wife wanted to spice things up in the bedroom by inviting another person. The only issue is that Tim Elliot had no idea about it and was not in the room. And it turns out that that person that she invited was his training partner who appears in pictures at their wedding. So he seemed pretty close to Tim Elliot. He was certainly close to his wife. Turns out that Tim Elliot married a dirtbag. Sean Strickland had a pretty good take on this. I'll tell you something about wife. Some wives need to get because some husbands are pieces of shit. When you're looking at the husband in the eyes every day, trying to be buddies, while his wife, you are the scum of the earth. And Sean Strickland will know something about being the scum of the earth. So he is spot on about Tim Elliott's friend, Kevin Crew. In breaking news, it seems that Francis has finally announced where he's going after the UFC. Apparently PFL is going to be his new home. As Francis states, they offered him more than any other company. So maybe we were wrong and he hasn't fumbled the bag. He'll be part of the PFL's super fight division, in which he'll have super fights with such great heavyweights as Who knows? It's a PFL. Nobody knows anybody in the PFL. So, maybe he didn't fumble the bag. He's certainly not going to be fighting anybody that anyone cares about. So we'll have to see how this works out for his future. Francis has also stated that he's going to announce his boxing plans in the very near future. We don't know with who, because it seems like all the big matchups that he would have potentially had are all wrapped up in other fights. So let's see who he ends up boxing for. Maybe it'll be the WWF's Brawl for It All division. Anthony Smith proved that he's very emotionally unstable in his fight with Johnny Walker. Gone are the days of the Anthony Smith that was just running through guys like Rashad Evans and Shogun. Now we have an emotional mess, confused Johnny Walker on Fight Night.
Now you attack my family. You're attacking my family. Now what?
We're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Ian Machado Gary was completely surgical in his dismantling of Daniel Rodriguez. He attacked his body early and then went to the head with that roundhouse kick. It was a beautiful performance against a very tough to finish competitor like Daniel Rodriguez. Ian Machado Gary is yet another star being built up in the UFC. And speaking of stars being built up in the UFC, Jalton? I don't know how to pronounce that one. Almeida had a throwback match in which he just used his grappling to take down Rosenstrike and submit him with the rear naked choke, cementing himself as another up-and-coming heavyweight. It seems like the heavyweight division is really starting to step up now that John Jones is in the picture. It was looking a little bleak when Francis Ngannou left, but now you have that terrifying Russian and you have this Brazilian killer, both who are on crazy finishing streaks in the UFC. And if Jones decides to stay, he will have some interesting matchups. And if he doesn't, these guys can kill each other. Francis Ngannou might have made the right decision in leaving, because although he has that one-punch knockout power, he is not the well-rounded fighter that can withstand what may be the best version of the heavyweight division. You have to give it to the UFC. They have completely stolen the WWF model of building stars. They do not focus completely on the old stars. They continue to build these new stars. This weekend, a card that kind of not even on my radar, to be honest. Like I said, there's just too many UFC cards. But I decided to watch it anyway because I have an MMA channel. And look at that, pleasantly surprised. Now you got Ian Gary, who's ready to be a breakout star, and you have Jalton Almeida, who was pretty much really introduced to the MMA world by beating a very dangerous Rosenstrike. The UFC is a machine that just keeps on churning out new and fresher talent. And it seems like the UFC is going to be thriving for a very long time. Before I go, I'd like to give a shout out to my latest patron, Sack Mayoff. Oh, I see what you did there. Cheeky. As you guys know, all my patrons get a shout out on Tony's MMA Corner. And if you want to become a patron, just click the link in the description. Well, guys, that's it for me. And I'll see you guys next time on Tony's MMA Corner. Head kick!
Where's the regular people? This press conference sucks.